US President Donald Trump has urged oil tankers to pass through the Strait of Hormuz as Iran tightens its chokehold on the crucial maritime route. Trump promised safe passage for the vessels, but didn't provide details. A fifth of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas trade passes through the strait. Iran says it's ready for a long war of attrition that would destroy the world economy. But the US President also said the operation against Iran isn't over yet.
We took out just about all of their mine ships in one night. We're up to boat number 60. I didn't realize they had that big a Navy. I would say it was big and ineffective. But every one of their ships, just about all of their Navy is gone at the bottom of the sea.
Mr. President, how do you respond? Mr. President,
have they laid any mines in the Strait of Hormuz?
We don't think so.
Well, Rosiland Jordan joins us live from Washington, D.C. So, Rosiland, the message from Iran is they're ready for this long war of attrition. Does that mean Donald Trump's ready to call it quits?
Well, the U.S. President Donald Trump keeps saying that, in his view, the U.S. military has exacted victory against Iran, but he has not said when the war against Iran is going to be over. And that's because there is a lot of concern, one, that perhaps the Trump administration doesn't have an active, well thought out strategy. There's also the argument from some on Capitol Hill that perhaps the president is trying to keep Iranian authorities off balance, as it were, and not tip the administration's hand on just what can be expected as this war continues. There's also the argument that Israel, which also has been bombing Iranian targets, doesn't want to see a quick end to the war, and the U.S. is persuaded by Israeli arguments. The upshot is no one knows when the war is going to be over, except that Donald Trump, the U.S. president, is pleased, he says, with the progress so far.
And Rosiland, this puzzling comment from Donald Trump urging tankers to pass through the Strait of Hormuz without providing any details, although there is, of course, this promise of safe passage. What's the Trump administration saying about the rapidly evolving energy crisis?
Well, not only has the U.S. president said that there is going to be support for U.S. vessels and other vessels that want to transit the Strait of Hormuz, but so far the U.S. Navy has ruled out providing military escorts to vessels through the strait. It's something that has been done in the past, but so far the Navy says it has rejected requests to do so. There's also the question of whether these commercial vessels in particular would want to move ahead, because they may not be able to get enough liability insurance in case something were to happen to their vessels while they were in the strait. And insurance is, of course, something that a lot of companies rely upon in order to carry out risky work. What happens in terms of the consumer impact of this growing energy crisis? Already on Thursday morning here in the United States, we're still seeing that the price of a barrel of crude oil is about $100 per barrel. That's considerably more than it had been for several months, in the $60 to $70 range. That's already showing up in higher gasoline prices for people trying to keep their cars and trucks on the road. And it's also affecting how much people have to spend on heating fuel for their homes. And so consumers are very concerned about this, and political advisors are saying that one good argument for ending the war sooner rather than later would be to help those Republicans who are trying to address the affordability concerns that U.S. consumers have in this election year. The argument being that if prices stay high, congressional Republicans could find themselves losing their jobs in November because they didn't come through on making life more affordable for working class and middle class Americans.
Okay, Rosiland Jordan in Washington, D.C., many thanks for that.